call the meeting to order and invite you to join the board as we stand and pledge the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time we'll have the roll call.
Melvin Boyd.
Here.
Arthur Zerby.
Here.
Jerry Long.
Here.
Mike Reiner.
Here.
Will Cassidy.
Here.
Tom Martin.
Okay, this time we allot some time for community open session. I limit you to 4 minutes each, and if you still have time, if everyone had a chance, you can have a second turn. But you don't have to wait till the meeting to bring your concerns. You can bring them to the township staff at any time. And if you want a definite response from the board, I prefer if you provide something in writing a couple of days in advance so we would have time to respond. But other than that, this is your time. So I'll start the clock when you start. Who wants to go first? Your name? Okay.
I did your address.
Your address?
Laura Rose,
And your address?
225
Okay.
Spruce St.
Okay.
I'll be reading from my notes.
Louder, so everybody.
In January 2017, the Brecknock Township Board of Supervisors in Lancaster County heard from the zoning officer about a property on Spruce Street that was collecting and storing junk. Levi Hoover explained that it was being thoroughly addressed, but as of that morning it appeared that nothing was cleaned up. A notice was sent to a resident at the beginning of January, and Mr. Hoover said he would give him until the end of the month. In February 2017, the township supervisors reviewed the property again that was collecting and dealing junk metal. It was stated by Levi Hoover that one written notice, 2 verbal notices, and 1 registered letter was presented to the resident. The registered letter was not accepted by the resident. During the verbal notice, Mr. Hoover had given the resident an opportunity to set a voluntary date to have the junk cleaned up, which was the end of February. At the end of February, the resident had been asked for an extension to the end of March, and it was granted by the board. Melvin Boyd opposed, saying he had long enough. Jerry Long said he was in favor of the extension, and I quote, "Over the winter, the days are short, maybe he couldn't get around to it as quick, and maybe when spring comes, he'll clean it up," end quote. It was in April 2017 at the township meeting, Levi Hoover had again addressed this issue of the resident and his reluctance to clean up his junk. At that time, Mr. Hoover stated that 11 months was long enough for the resident to clean up the junk. Mr. Boyd agreed. At this meeting, Jerry Long decided he would talk to the resident and give him 2 weeks to clean it up before the end of April. It was a motion and a vote that Esquire Cassidy would send a letter in writing giving him 2 weeks to comply. It was also a motion and a vote that after the 2-week notice letter in confrontation by Jerry Long, another letter would be sent from Esquire Cassidy that legal action would be taken by the district magistrate if the resident didn't comply. At the May 2017 board meeting, after looking at the property pictures, Mr. Zerby said to keep working on him. Mr. Long said, "We won't take action at this point to give him yet another month, as long as no additional stuff goes in there." In June 2017, the township discussed the property, and Mr. Long said, "The cleanup has stalled." Mr. Boyd said, "There has been regress, but the board decided to give him another month." According to the Brecknock Township Code ordinances, there are 3 ordinances that are being violated: the junk ordinance, the nuisance ordinance, and the junk dealer ordinance. My question to the board is, why are the codes of ordinance not being enforced? The pattern of this resident is to say he will clean up, and the board of supervisors continues to give him more time. Today is now 14 months since the first confrontation by Levi Hoover, and the junk is still not cleaned up. I share a common boundary with the property, and I've lived beside this for over a year now. The sites that I have to look at are an eyesore to me and my neighbors. I believe that Levi Hoover has done over and above his job as zoning officer to try to get this resident to be in compliance with the zoning ordinances. Why is the township not supporting Levi Hoover's recommendation? The zoning ordinances are in place to protect property owners from dealing with non-compliant neighbors. Clearly, the township is dragging their feet in this matter. What is the point of having laws and codes if they're not going to be enforced? This resident has been given plenty of chances and over a year to clean up. The resident has been sent his violations of codes from the zoning officer and from the township. There is no excuse for these delays in the township. I ask you to put yourself in my shoes. If you would have to look at this every day, what would your plan of action be?
Go next.
Yes.
Randy Rhodes, 235 Spruce Street. First, we are quite nervous to speak, but we thank the board for giving us the opportunity. My wife spoke of the concerns we have and how the board has handled the property on Spruce Street. I would like to highlight a few things from your previous meetings. At the April meeting, you passed a motion to file with the district magistrate at the end of April. Why hasn't this happened? Also at that meeting, Jerry Long, you were concerned that the township would have costs involved in doing so. Isn't that what we pay taxes for? At the May meeting, Mr. Zerby had a few troubling statements that are as follows. First, don't fine him. Second, I am completely against fining people. This is very concerning that a leader of the township charged with enforcing ordinances feels this way. Also, Mr. Zerby said, I am glad we have these residents out of the developments and confined to a smaller area, end quote. I guess as long as they aren't your neighbor, correct?
You're referring to, I'll speak later.
Yeah.
What is the point of spending time and money to develop ordinances and codes if they will not be enforced? Your process of continuing to give him another 30 days is not working. Another thing we wanted to mention, my job with the government agency is being transferred. We have our home listed for sale for that reason. We have had some negative comments from prospective buyers pertaining to the neighbor situation. One of those comments is as follows. Client drove all the way from Philly and wouldn't even go in the house because of the auto body shop being run out of the neighbor's home. Sorry. Another visitor said they loved the house, but there was too much commotion at the neighbor's property. As you can see, this is not only affecting current neighbors, but also property values and possible future neighbors. Finally, as you consider this matter later in the meeting, we hope you take our comments into consideration and take a more aggressive approach to have this resident comply with the township ordinances. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? We'll probably talk about this thing more in detail when we get to the zoning officer's report. Are you okay with just
Just
wait until then?
one thing, we made a comment where it's, the one where it's good to get the people out of the developments and get them where they belong is a completely different situation. It has nothing to do with that problem.
No, it's not. You had spoken about the guy across the turnpike, I'm not sure of the address, but across from King's Snacks.
Yeah.
You said that, and you said the guy on Spruce Street. And then that's when you
Well,
made that.
I wasn't referring to Spruce Street. I was referring.
You said Spruce Street.
I know. If I did, that was a mistake because I'm talking about the people working on the cars.
Well, that's what he's doing.
Well, I didn't see no car parts, but the four families who were,
Have you driven past?
not in the last week. I haven't. No.
There's different cars in there every day that are being torn apart. There's a truck right there now that has plastic draped over it, and he's working on the back end.
But I will go back to, I am not a person who likes to fine anybody. I've been in situations since I've been supervisor where,
Can I ask another question? We just had that fence built. If I wouldn't have gotten that permit and paid my $50, would I have been fined? If I would have just built the fence?
you'd have got a notice from the township, you know,
And
that, and
30 more days?
yeah, we'd have gave you some time.
But what? Tear it down or pay you or what? If I was going to get fined, yes, I would have been fined.
I was in situations where,
We're not talking about other situations. We're talking about our situation right now.
I
And
know,
it's a mess.
but I was in one situation where it cost the township over $100,000 that we lost.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll when we get to Levi's report, he has some pictures that
We'll
we'll
do
talk about.
process over.
I'm saying later in the meeting.
Yes,
We'll
we'll
talk
do
about
that.
it. Okay. Is there anyone else who wants to offer anything in the community open session time? Okay. Say we'll talk more
I
about
have a
that later. Okay. You don't want to wait till we bring it up.
Okay.
Okay. At this time, we have some guests here tonight. We have someone representing the Muddy Creek Christian School.
My name is Tom Madison with Beam Surveyors. Muddy Creek Church, Mennonite Church, owns this property out at the end of Beam Road. It's a little under 5 acres in size. And right now there's a church building that also has a school in it. And then parking wraps around it with an access to the point here. They have a detention basin located here, and then the rest of this property is all in the floodplain. And what they're looking to do is come in and construct an addition here that would provide bigger opportunities or more opportunities for the school. It's for the school mainly, to be able to offer different services and so forth. They're not looking to expand their enrollment. They're simply looking to be able to offer different things like being able to separate grades that right now have to be together due to lack of space. They want to offer us computerized classes and some different things that are presenting a need there that didn't really exist when this was built back in 1990. The other thing is when this was approved in 1990, they actually anticipated an expansion in this location at that point that was simply never built. So what we're here tonight before you to ask is to allow this expansion to occur and to approve waiver of land development, specifically sections 9819 and 9820, the preliminary and final plan sections of the ordinance, to allow this to not need a land development plan. From a stormwater perspective, we are working with Mike, and there's been a small project application submitted. We're going to make some minor modifications to the existing detention basin to address the stormwater, but that's a different subject. The other change they're making is that there's a shed out here at the side. They'd like to take that down and replace it with a slightly larger maintenance building to hold maintenance equipment. So that is a very quick rundown of what they're proposing and what we're asking for this evening. The Planning Commission did review this and acted favorably, and I believe Mike is also in support of the request. So.
Yeah, just to iterate, the Planning Commission did feel, obviously there was a lot of thought put into the stormwater management before. There's an existing system there within the storm sewer system. The basin is fairly large. We were looking, and I met with Dave Meese from Tom's office before in the field, and we talked about water quality, because at that time it was just about rate. So the basin was built to handle the rate, but not necessarily water quality. So that's what this proposal, through working with Dave and Tom's office, we would put some water quality controls in the existing basin instead of building another basin, just for the limited amount of impervious that they're adding. So we felt, just based on the impact, as did the Planning Commission, they felt that a waiver would be recommended to the board, provided those issues related to stormwater are addressed through the engineer's offices.
Okay, so you're looking for a waiver request from the land development process under Chapter 98.
Right.
Well, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to grant the waiver request under the stormwater management. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, now we have someone representing the Lancaster Adams Town Library.
Thank you so much for having the library here this evening and for your time. And as always, thank you so much for your support. It means the world to us, especially now that we're building a new library. And speaking of that, we have reached the $850,000 mark. So this is awesome. This is $850 of $1.5 million. The next step is to send everything out to bid, all the different projects that need to be done, the electrical, the painting, the drywall. It will come back. That will be done through Todd Heck, our construction person. And then all the numbers will come back, and we're hoping that it will definitely stay under $1 million. We have made a few really nice changes to our building area. You can just look at that at your leisure if you wish to do that. We swapped some things around, but we greatly expanded the children's area, which we feel is so important. As it is now, those poor kids are so cramped. Half the time when they're looking at a book, literally we have to step over them as we walk through the library. And we will not have that in the new building. So the more that we can expand that area, the better it will be for them, and definitely for us and their parents. So far, we've never stepped on any children. How that has ever happened, I will never know. We'll keep you posted when possibly the new bids come in and we know the exact total. And I'll be down for my annual report at some point soon anyway, so we'll talk about it then. We also have, unless you have any questions about the building, then I have another thing I wanted to cover quickly. Okay? We have a fabulous new streaming, a digital streaming service called Hoopla. And there is a tremendous amount of hoopla about Hoopla. It has everything, 500,000 items on it. TV programs, old TV programs, books on CD, music, movies. And the beauty of it is Art and I can be watching the same movie in different parts of Lancaster County at the same time. So no holes, you don't have to wait for anything. Something that you want, you just go for it. The only thing that you have to do to sign up for the service is, first of all, go to our website, and secondly, Adamstown Area Library has to be your home library. But it is just amazing. There's lots of things for children on there. There's PBS series, there's PBS for kids, almost all of Ken Burns' series. It is just amazing. It would take me hours to tell you all about this. So I hope you get a chance to look at it. This may replace tables.
I have a question.
Yes.
You sign up for this service at the library.
You sign up on the website as long as the Adamstown Area Library is your home library.
Now, is that our home library or not?
You would have to call to find out. What I can do tomorrow is look and let you know. How does
Yeah,
that
it depends on
sound?
where we live.
Yes, if you're in our service area, but really there are people in Berks County who use Adamstown Area Library as their home library. It's the only library they use, the only library that they like. You don't have to be in our service area for it to be your home library.
So then, let's say it's our home library.
Okay?
You sign up online and then we can,
Sign up online, you go to our website, which is www.adamstownarealibrary.org, and you scroll to the bottom of the page and you'll see 4 blocks. The last block has Hoopla listed on there. You click on Hoopla, you put in the username and password, your library card number, and that's it.
and then
You are signed up.
you can take to your computer.
To your computer,
Okay.
to your device that supports phones. It is a regular digital streaming service. So you can do this anywhere. You're
Very
fishing
interesting.
and watching a movie. Like I said,
Very
Art and I
interesting.
can be watching a movie on American Indians anywhere on our devices.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Well, does anyone in the audience have questions concerning the library expansion? Okay.
We'll see you all on Google.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, there are bookmarks out in the lobby for that, where the magazines and papers are. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you have the minutes from last month in your packet. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of June?
I read the minutes and I make a motion to accept the minutes.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and accept the minutes. Those in favor, and was second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, you have the bills. On the first page, you have the totals from the general fund, state fund, and the street light, totaling $257,690.44. Have you reviewed the bills and satisfied with them?
I make a motion that we pay the bills in the amount of $257,690.44.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we had a motion to pay the bills as are listed, and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay, we have, moving to the reports. We have your roadmaster's report in your binder. See, we had a big bill from Brubacher's on Columbusville Road. Okay. Engineers report?
Yeah, I have several items in my report on page 5. I'll reference you to that and just review what's enumerated on that sheet. I do have a couple additions. I'll note those as we go through. Item number 1 is the Javon Horst Stormwater Management Project. I have a release recommendation dated June 16 in the amount of $3,000. Item number 2 is the Jason Ringler Stormwater Project. A release recommendation dated June 15 in the amount of $3,600. Item 3 is a financial security recommendation letter to establish that letter of credit, financial security in the amount of $2,750. Item 4 is the John R. Zimmerman Land Development on Silver Hill Road. We've received a signed developer's agreement from the applicant for action by the board. Item number 5 is the Kevin and Melanie Horning Stormwater Project on Willow Street. We've received a memorandum of understanding. We have a recommendation letter dated July 6th to establish financial security in the amount of $41,639.68, and also a signed operation and maintenance agreement for that project. Item number 6 is the John and Donna Ottinger Stormwater Management Project. It is the final release recommendation in the amount of $3,396.27. And the last item, I'll add number 7, would be the Dustin Bowman Stormwater Project, a financial security release dated July 10th in the amount of $971.05. Any questions about any of those items?
I have questions on the first 2.
Okay.
We're doing the final release, and we're down to holding just $300. Is it really worth keeping it open for 18 months, or just $300, or would you suggest just closing them out?
That's an interesting question. The idea behind it, the ordinance requires a maintenance security, and that's essentially what that is. You're required to hold 15% of the actual construction costs. Obviously, these projects are slightly smaller, so that's why the number is so small. But there is a final inspection that comes at the end of the 18 months just to ensure the integrity of the system is working properly. There's no issues regarding erosion, stormwater runoff, control problems on adjacent properties, that sort of thing is what it actually covers. So that's the intent behind it.
So it's basically kept open anyway for that final inspection?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we accept this report from our engineer.
I second.
Okay, we had a motion to approve the actions requested, listed, and it was second. Those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, we have your SEO, and let's cover up solicitor's items, and we'll deal with the zoning. Do you have anything?
I have nothing to say.
Okay, you have the zoning office report, and then you do have a comment letter concerning the property that was brought up in the community session. And I regret that you feel that the board needs to take a position on trying to dictate and get tough on residents and determine what they can place in their driveway or not. We were notified back in the end of the year. This was a photograph. And I did go out and talk to the gentleman, and he said he would work at cleaning it up. He does not say he's not on a trailer, so he's he works full time. It's taking some time. And then now it looks like this. You know, it is really drastically cleaned up. It's just taken him some time. And the board represents him too in his challenges. And he has assured me he will continue to work and clean it up. So I would rather err in working with him than putting the hammer down and forcing him into litigation, which isn't always a tried and true method either. A lot of times when you go to that point, no one wins. The township don't win and the individual don't win, and I would ask that you consider a little bit of patience on this situation.
When was that picture taken? The one that
In January. This was just this week. What's marked July 3rd.
It was all the way to the door now, seeing that.
Well,
I'll also say, I'm pretty much 100% sure he is renting or loaning that space that is not his stuff. There's a guy over here on the corner of 5 Point Hill intersection. His truck's over there. You can go see it. He comes and goes there every day, 3 or 4 times a day, taking and bringing. Taking and bringing. I don't think it's this guy's property.
well, I was there last night, and they're cleaning stuff out of the basement. And again, he tells me, I hear him, and I gotta give him some leeway to what he's saying.
Saturday night at 3 in the morning, they were carrying stuff in through the breezeway door.
Into the house. Well, we can't control what people carry in and out of their house. I mean,
He said he's taking out, he's taking in too.
I hear you, and yet I'm trying to hear his side too. He says he'll continue to work and clean it up. I just, was out there, and it's like, well, can you have this outside? It's like, well, we can't make a decision whether the bicycles can be out there, or the barrel, or the box.
The ordinances
Well,
clearly state
that's
you can't
what,
have junk and salvage in the front of your property. Am I wrong?
Nope.
Attorney, am I wrong?
it doesn't say that.
Well,
Sure it does.
there are, several ordinances that applicable, zoning ordinance, the nuisance ordinance that address this kind of material. And I think the zoning officer had forwarded to this individual a notice of violation of those ordinances. So this is not.
I have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's pretty obvious from the very beginning that our zoning officer has advised us to take action. The man has a trailer, it's right there. The thing that bothers me, and has always bothered me from the very beginning, is through the one window there's an air conditioner, which tells me there's something inside going on they need an air conditioner for. This goes on month after month after month. Why do we have a zoning officer? I agree. Now, the man has rights. I understand that. However, he has been given warning after warning after warning. He has promised and promised and promised. Still in all, we send our zoning officer at our expense out and look at his property, and it gets worse. Now, these people have a legitimate concern. They're next door. They also have lost a sale or 2 sales of their property. This is grossly unfair. Well, I have advised from the very beginning that we should crack down on this individual. It's obvious that he's not going to do anything unless we do something.
I disagree. I think he already has. I
Yeah,
don't know why you say
he got
it's
worse.
not. No, he didn't get worse.
I think we have the letter that said this is worse.
He said he did not bring anything more in. He moved stuff out of the basement, and he's not brought more stuff on the
Physically,
property.
it's not bringing it, it's somebody
Yeah.
else, and he's allowing it
Okay.
on his property.
Well, he told me last night that he would continue to clean it up.
And that
And-
obviously works. Because he tells you that every month.
No,
And
he
the
hasn't
next
told me
month,
that.
We're going to hear the same thing.
He hasn't told me that every month. He told me when it was like this. And I know our zoning officer's been out taking pictures, but I'm not sure our zoning officer has been talking to him every time he's out there because he works. He's not there.
The plastic on that breezeway is function of that plastic.
Yeah, I don't want to get into where the board is making
Right,
decisions
that's a different
on
issue.
every,
Take care of that.
yeah, on all this stuff. I give him another, I give him another month.
And then what?
You got that, camera? One more month.
I,
Yeah, there's been for over a year. One more month.
it's always open for interpretation. To him, it's not junk.
Are all ordinance violations open for interpretation?
To him, it's not junk. When someone's,
Can you bring, were you able to get that ordinance? Do you have it there?
I don't have it here, no, I don't.
I
We'll read it for you so you know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to look at a bigger picture here and what we potentially will
Write
happen.
the ordinance. write it.
Now, just hear me out here. I hear you. But I also know you bought the property last year. And the driveway was full of stuff when you bought the property.
It was not like that. And
I have a map from Google, historical data,
when was that?
that shows 9 of 2015 showing it in the driveway. And you
Didn't buy in September.
no, you bought it in 16.
Right, so it's probably the pattern. Let's get
I'm just
some-
saying,
because he-
I'm just
maybe
saying,
he's
don't
waiting
be
for
so
salvage
hard on,
prices to go up and down.
don't be so hard on the board and the individual.
Take action.
He says he will. Let's give him another month. Also, I prefer if we just go clean it up. I've been talking to Bill about that. I mean, that's my opinion. I'd like to give him another month. The rest of the board, I'm only one here. If you just want to take action, that's fine. But like I say, I'm trying to work with our residents. And if we can't be there to work with all of them and represent all of them, then we're not doing our job either.
I think we
Can
have
you read
worked
this?
with it.
Have a moment to
Have
read
you-
this? This is
No, I
just a
heard
portion
it.
of
I heard it. I did hear it already. Are you going to repeat what you said earlier?
No, this is
Okay.
the actual ordinance that you.
I know I'm fine with you. I don't need you to read it. Have you talked to him, Melvin?
No, I haven't talked to him.
Okay.
We have a zoning officer that talks to him. And has talked to him. And he's made promises after promises to you, as well as zoning officer.
And he's followed through with it. He's been cleaning it up.
No, what he does is he cleans some up and then he moves more in. That's the pattern.
Okay, I
He's also
expressed,
doing work on vehicles there, which is also illegal.
no, the township, this board cannot try to dictate who works in their vehicle in their driveway or not.
If he works on his own vehicle, that's one thing. When he works on other people's vehicles, that constitutes he's got a business going there.
You don't know if they're other people's vehicles. Okay,
Do you?
I assume they're his. Well, I don't know. I'd like to give him another month. I talked to him last night, okay, and he said he'll continue to
What
clean
about
up.
that motion that was brought up at that meeting where you
I don't think
voted
there
to-
was a motion to take litigation.
You voted on it.
Do you recall? Well, okay, Arthur. go
Where's the
ahead.
minutes?
Okay. First off, I have to apologize to you because I did bring up Spruce Street. I wasn't thinking of that property though. I was thinking of one down the road to
So
the
there's
left.
more?
Yeah, there was, that one moved out over on 625. The one that used to tear all the cars apart. I think our zoning officer knew. We had trouble with them. Oh, there was engines and transmissions and car parts laying all over that yard down the road from you. Now, I am a person who don't like to come down hard on people. I like to give people a chance. But we're at the point now where I know the reason I asked Jerry from the very beginning to go see Mr. Lice is because I know him from a long time. I knew his mother and father. And for this time, he either has to now, the recommendation and letter from our zoning officer, I have to respect that. Levi Hoover sitting back there, he's to me one of the most men I respect as highly as anybody in this township. He's not the kind of man that'll come down hard on somebody, you know, and he gives people a fair chance. But now we're at the point, and I don't want to sit here and argue about it.
I respect you guys' opinions.
We got to move forward.
Agreed.
We have to move forward. I tried to give him a break. It's not working. I see your side of it. I see the side of it from anybody who travels that road, you know. I don't know what it's going to take. I imagine our solicitor could advise us what to do here. I hate to get involved with the solicitor in any things because I've seen what happened in issues through the years. There were some cases cost us a lot of money. And wasn't worth it, but I do agree. I don't think another month's going to help. Mr. Long, I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
Well, you're up, man.
Well, I think that the zoning ordinance is one of the ordinances that was violated. According to the notice of violation, you can file a civil enforcement action with the district justice to the zoning officer. And if the violation is found to have occurred, that a fine up to $500 per day that the violation exists can be imposed upon the property owner. That would be one step. I don't know if the district justice will impose $500. Sometimes they start at a lower amount, try to give the defendant incentive to do it, but it's a per day violation. After that, if that doesn't work, another remedy would be to file what's called an equity action in the Court of Common Pleas, seeking an order from the court ordering the property owner to remove, and abate the violation. And at the same time, we would request that if he does not, that we would be given the authority by the court to go in and clean it up at the property owner's expense. So that's another option.
I think it's time to go with the first option. I make a motion that we authorize Bill to begin legal action to mitigate the circumstances at the district justice level, where the district justice will find some kind of an amount per day that will give this guy an incentive to do what he's been promising to do. I make that motion.
I'll just comment one. I met the guy a couple of times. He does not have money to pay a fine. He can't afford to pay it. He don't have money. He has nothing. I doubt the township will see a nickel out of these fines.
That's not the idea. We don't want the fines. We want him to clean up his mess.
And I don't think it's going to make him clean up. It's not doesn't money to pay the fines. It's, meanwhile, basically the house will be foreclosed, and that may happen in a couple months anyway, without any of our action. And that's the reason I was hesitant to take an issue, because I felt that the issue may just simply resolve itself, because I know he's way behind, and there's going to be some legal action besides this.
That's very possible.
I know. But, yeah, I understand.
It's not fair.
So we had a motion to have Bill initiate the process to...
Questions?
Yeah, okay.
What's the simplest thing to do? And put pressure on.
Well, I'd hope
I
that
think the civil enforcement
the local
proceeding,
agency will...
civil enforcement proceeding to have a dollar amount imposed that he would not be obligated to pay. And then you can get a civil judgment against him, which can be transferred from the district justice's office to the Court of Common Pleas. Then it becomes an automatic lien on the real estate. Now, getting a judgment is the first step in the collection law. The next step is to find something to pursue. If the real estate has no equity, if the mortgage and other liens exceed the value of the property, we get a judgment after those mortgages and other judgment holders, sometimes you can get a judgment that's not worth a whole lot. I don't know the circumstances of this particular property, whether he has a mortgage, whether he has other judgments against him. We would have to find that out. But, as far as trying to, enforce the ordinance and to seek some measure of compliance, I think that would be a step that you can take. You can also take file a citation under the nuisance statute as well, and that would be a smaller summary offense law. I think the zoning ordinance is probably a good start.
There's, when you go into one of these cases, is there anything like a judge might say, look, if you're not cleaned up in 15 days or so, we're going to start action? Do they give them a time period?
That's the equity action in the court of common pleas, where you ask the judge to direct him, and if he doesn't do it in a certain period of time, that you are able to go in and clean it up.
So that's what Mel made the motion, would be that type of action.
No, he was not asking, as I understood the motion, the court of common pleas action as the district justice.
I want to start at the district justice level. The district justice can impose a per day fine, or he can give him a certain amount of time to begin the fine. And this is the smallest action he can take at this point.
I'd like to second that because I feel our district magistrate is a very fair man. And I'd like to
Okay,
second.
we had a motion to start the process, legal action to impose fines until it's cleaned up, and it was seconded. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion carries. Okay, I believe that concludes the zoning report. Is there a motion to approve the reports as we've had them?
I make a motion we approve the reports for the roadmaster, engineer, SEO, zoning, and there was no solicitor as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the reports and was second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay.
One question, how long does it take for that notification to go out now?
Well, we have to file a complaint with the district justice, and they schedule a hearing. Usually within a month and a half.
I
Get a
guess,
hearing.
I'll assume we file.
Well, I'll have to talk with Levi and get together the necessary facts.
As quickly as possible. That seems to be holding up the sale.
do the neighbors get a copy of that?
No.
They don't have no knowledge of it.
It's only served on the defendant, which is the property owner. And that service is done through the district justice's office.
It'll be before the next township meeting.
You mean the filing of it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe setting up of it.
Maybe. I don't know what their calendar is in the district justice's office. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out. I do hope that this gets resolved.
It will one way or another. It's coming up. It's got to.
Okay, you have the Brecknock Township Park and Rec meetings in your packet, and they are requesting us to approve of some equipment purchases. If you just looked at the equipment, there's two pieces, yeah, for the park. Is anyone here from the Park and Rec? No. I guess the Park and Rec Committee recommended it and asked for us to approve it, so
The Discover Cave, $3,600.
yeah. actually, yeah.
And then there's something called a miracle recreation for,
Like a sliding board.
which is going to be about $7,000 total, including freight.
Yes.
The sliding board, there's several different. Now, is that passing to the ground in any way? Do you know? How is that? Is that sturdy? That's a lot of money, $7,000 for a piece of equipment. How do we know that this is something that will stand up?
Well, I trust they did their homework. Have you learned much with it, Andy?
They did their homework. It's from it's from good.
Yeah.
It's there with
Yeah.
good stars and stuff. I believe, I don't know exactly, I've never installed anything in that equipment, but I believe it is probably concrete in the ground because, so it should be very sturdy. I know the cave they want to put at the Cub playground.
The installation is not provided unless included above.
I believe the road crew has installed in the past, if I'm correct, and I think we probably will this time.
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, what
Okay.
happened to the day when you just stuck your buddy in a tire and rolled him down the hill? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
cheaper?
right. What kind of playground equipment do we have there now?
At the Cub playground, there's a slide, there's some swings, there's a merry-go-round, and there's a kind of like a zip line type of thing. I don't know what exactly you would call it, but they like to put that bit of cave down there for the kids to climb. There's no real climbing stuff down there. And then the bigger set, we go up at the Eagle's Nest, the food playground. We have to extend the playground a little bit up there to make that one work. Up there, I guess, I don't know how long ago we purchased it, but it's a modular playground. It's a kind of almost like a obstacle course kind of thing. There's a pretty decent one up there. But they were looking to have something for smaller children to do up there. That one is, I think the age is a little higher for that modular one, and like 2 to 3 year olds, it's a little too big for them, and they can't quite handle that. So that's why they want to get a smaller set.
1 to 2 and 3 year olds be down at the other
They
playground?
could be, unless they have older brothers and sisters that would want to be up at the modular, and then the parents had to decide, well, where do we go? I guess that's the thought, They have older siblings that are 7 or 8 that want to play in the modular, and younger siblings that are 3 years old who can't play in the modular. They thought it'd be nice to have that option up there for them.
And so you're going to have to enlarge the playground some?
As far as I know, I have not looked at it fully. I don't know how much we would have to enlarge it, but apparently we do have the room to do that.
Do you have any more questions? Okay. Well, I think the park's done their homework. I'm willing to approve their request for this spending and make that as a motion. If they go ahead and purchase the 2 pieces of equipment, and the road crew would assemble it for them.
I trust that they done their homework. I will second it.
Okay, we had a motion to grant their approval on the 2 pieces of equipment. It was second. Those in favor say aye. Aye.
Oppose.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, while we're talking about the park, you want to talk about the part-time help that we're,
Yeah.
okay, let's.
Okay. I had got word from the office that it was Josh and Nathan, correct? Ethan. And they're in high school yet, and to hire them part-time, and that means though, that they could only put in 1-2 days a week. I don't know if they'd ever get to 3, but after a month, I was in the park this weekend, and I looked around, and I'm realizing now that that's not quite enough to bring the park up to date where we're at for just the next 2-3 months. This is a critical part here yet. So, with them working 1 or 2 days a week, I've got word that they may be going into other activities at high school, so they can't spend a lot of time there. We had a request from Pete Martin, who is our dog and fire ordinance man, and he's available. He's retired, so we have. And I spoke with him. He would be willing to fill in 1 or 2 days a week, not more than 3. That would be about, I believe, what it's going to take to get that park in tip-top shape. At least in better shape. Weed eating and the painting and everything that's involved. We have that park. We have, to my knowledge, one of the largest municipal parks in the whole state of Pennsylvania. We should keep it cleaned up and be proud of it. Show people that we're proud of it. Not just let it grow up like that. I've been to a lot of parks. In fact, when we first started this park, Levi's sitting back there, and I used to take my motorcycle every weekend and drive all over this part of Pennsylvania, down here in the southeast corner, just to look at other parks and what they had. And you could tell as soon as you drove into that area if they cared about it or not, the way it was presented. Some were just, I mean, they kept everything trimmed and clean. And others, well, they didn't look so good. But I am willing, and I will, make a motion that would take Ethan and Josh, 2 high school boys that can work just a day, 2, not more than 3 days a week, and Pete Martin to help fill in 2 days, not more than 3, which is on a part-time basis with no benefits other than workers' comp, at the rate of $15 an hour. 12 sounded okay, but you know, if they do a good job, 15 isn't too much. We have a lot at stake in that park. We have a lot to show that we care about it. So I'm making a motion to hire Ethan, Nathan, and Pete.
At $15 an hour.
Yes.
I thought we had agreed on $12 an hour.
Well, I got to thinking about it. I'm willing to push that up to $15, $12 an hour. I'm the kind of person who believes if you pay somebody decent for the work they're doing, they should tend to work harder for the money they get. You know, that's the way I feel.
And you want to keep it consistent with Pete and the boys.
Yes, I would like. That's one thing.
I don't. It's part time. It's the rest half of the summer. I can support it.
I think $15 an hour is too much.
Well,
when you consider the minimum wage is like $8, and if you get a good job, in the warehouse I see advertisements on billboards for $14. Why would we pay part-time $15 here when they're paying full-time people $14 and less?
Well, first off, there's no benefits other than
That has
that.
nothing to do with it.
And the thing is, you could have had the opportunity to work over there.
Me?
Yes. At $22.50 an hour. I could have
Why would I
worked.
want to do that? I want to see somebody, like a high school student or something, making $12 an hour. I think that's fair.
Well, I can support I'll second that motion. So, we had a motion to hire Pete, Martin, and
Ethan,
Ethan, and
Josh.
Josh, part-time for the rest of the summer, possibly up to 3 days a week, no benefits, and also a second motion
At 15.
at 15 an hour. So we had the motion with a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I didn't say I opposed.
You didn't say anything.
I didn't say anything.
No, that's
I'm
fine.
thinking about it.
Well, we had two approve it.
No. So you don't need my approval, that's what you're saying.
Okay. We have roof replacement quotes. Levi or Andy, either you look at any of these in depthly and can make a recommendation.
Yeah, I compared them, they seem to be comparable to each other, and, I would recommend any of the three. So, I think that, person should pick the award.
And it looks like Martin's Roofing Exterior has a price of 17.8.
819.
We had another one of 18 and one of 19. So they were all very, very close.
Yeah, I thought they were good bids,
Yeah.
none of them were too far away from the rest of them.
I'll make a motion, we accept the bid of Martin's at $17,819.
I will second that.
Okay, we had the motion and it was second. Those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carried. Do you have everything you need, Carol? This is all the...
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I've been working with Levi with this, so
Okay.
yeah, we're good.
Okay, we have nothing under old business. We have new business. We have the MS4 pollutant reduction plan. Mike, would you like to?
Yeah, I'll give a short rundown. Basically, we're in the home stretch, so to speak, of our new MS4 permit. There is a requirement of submission of the entire MS4 permit application and pollutant reduction plan by September 16, 2017 to DEP. One of the requirements of that permit is to have a public hearing, which would be held typically at a regular municipal meeting, to review that pollutant reduction plan in detail, entertain questions from the public, and there's also a 30-day comment period that goes along with that. So the plan, once it's completed, would be posted to your website. For example, there would be an announcement made in the newspaper and also on the website to allow the public to review the plan and then formulate any comments that they have and then submit those to the township for review and response.
Is there a completed plan now?
The plan is nearing completion at this point. We're in the process of finalizing the mapping efforts with Levi and our office, and we're also developing that pollutant reduction plan as we speak. So that's anticipated to be completed prior to next month's meeting. However, because of the timing, we have to have the public hearing at least 45 days, within the 45 days before the submission date. So that's why the August is essential to have that public hearing at that point. So tonight's authorization would be just merely to advertise that public notice. We'll provide that public notice to Bill for his review. We actually have several municipalities that are already doing this, and we're waiting some feedback from DEP and some other entities. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. If one's acceptable, we'd like to just customize the basic body that we've used elsewhere and just customize it to Brecknock Township and just reuse that.
How much of a reduction are we expected to make?
It's a 10% reduction.
10%
Yes,
from what we're currently.
from what your pollutant loadings are today.
How do we know what they are?
That's the process we're going through right now. What essentially we're doing is we're looking at all of the watersheds in the township and all of the outfalls that we have that actually discharge to waters of the Commonwealth. We do an analysis and look at what's draining to those points. We come up with a loading of existing pollutants that go to that point, and then we have to come up with a plan that will reduce that pollutant loading by 10%.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we'll get into all kinds of good questions and answers and presentation at the
Hey,
public
no.
hearing in August.
So we're looking to authorize the advertisement for take place in our August
Would
meeting.
be take place in your August meeting, correct?
Is there a motion to do
I'll
that?
make a motion that we authorize Michael to advertise, Bill advertise.
I second it.
Okay, the motion was made to authorize it and advertise it. Was second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, the last item on our list is consideration for a 3% cost of living increase for the township staff. We did not do any cost of living increase in the beginning of the year. It was simply a couple targeted merit increases, so there have been nothing. They have not had any increases since last July. We had budgeted 3% for the last 6 months of this year, so it's in the budget. It's accounted for. I did make some phone calls and talk to Carnarvon Township, East Earl Township, Earl Township, East Calico. I talked to Keith Brubacher from Brubacher Excavate, the largest employer in our township, and the consensus pretty much is that the standard is 3%, and they all seem to think that that would be in line with what's taking place in the marketplace. I know that Conestoga also had a 3%, so I am recommending that we do across the board for all the full-time and part-time staff that have been employed at least 6 months, that they would get a 3% cost of living increase.
I have comments.
Yeah.
Last year we gave 3%, right?
Yeah.
That was your first year. This is your second year. You have 4 more years to go. If you do this 3% a year, when the cost of living, according to, I just looked it up on the web today, Social Security web, it's 0.003. It's 0.3 of 3%. It's a tenth of 3%, what I'm saying, is what the cost of living actually increased. If anybody here is on Social Security, they know what kind of an increase you got. That is what the cost of living went up this year for the nation. While some things went up, some things went down. That was the total cost of living. What is happening, all you have to do is look at the schools and the school taxes. If you assume a teacher makes $50,000 a year, you give them a 3% increase, well, that's $1,500. In 5 years, he's at $57,000, and that is exactly what has happened in our schools. And that is exactly what has happened in our own sewer authority, where they were being given a 3% increase every year for years and years and years, until now we don't have a single employee, full-time employee of our sewer authority that's less than $50,000. It is a wrong way to go. Right now, things are good. We have money coming in to the township. Economy is booming. We just came off of a big downturn, and there will be another downturn. It's just a matter of time. It goes up, then it goes down. If we keep giving people 3%, someone now making $20,000, which for our road crew is, we'll say some are making more and some are making less. In 5 years, they're at $23,000. For one of our employees, or more than one of our employees making $30,000, 5 years, if you continue doing this, they're at $35,000. Now, that doesn't seem like a whole lot, but if we're in a downturn of the economy, and our income coming in from wages, earned income tax, is way down, and we have a severe winter, which is what happened over the last several years, we got a problem. It's far better, I feel, to keep their rate the same and give them a certain amount of money in the form of a, what do you call it, bonus or whatever. Then next year you can do the same. Their rate of pay stays the same, but they get a similar amount of money. If it's $20,000, they get $600. If it's $30,000, they get $900. But their rate doesn't go up, so when the time of downturn comes, we're still at the same rate of pay that we're paying them. We don't have to give employees as much money then when we don't have it. That's what I have to say. But that's the way our schools have gotten to the point now where teachers are making upwards of $100,000 by yearly 2, 3, 4% increases, year in and year out. And you know how it goes. And who pays for that? You pay for it. I pay for it. It's the same thing with our employees here. We pay for it with taxes. If you want to be popular, give them more than what the cost of living is.
Oh, that's my turn.
Are you finished?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. I have to look at this way. I'm on Social Security, but my electric keeps going up. My cable keeps going up. The phone keeps going up. I got to come up with extra money on my own. But I don't mind the 3% looking at the situation we have here. We have a 3-man road crew, and they have to struggle to, I know you got to struggle to do your planning with only 3 people. We're saving a lot of money by not having the larger road crew of a lot of municipalities. By working a little harder, our roadmaster and the road crew, I really feel they deserve the 3%. Maybe there's a time period where we won't be able to afford the 3%. But I just feel they're doing their job. I'm not worried about the office staff. You don't hear her complaining from the people. But we need qualified people.
Yeah.
That's what we do. And you got to pay them to keep them.
Is that a motion you made?
I will make a motion. Oh, are you making the motion?
No, I'm Jerry. I was wondering if you had-
I made a recommendation, but I can turn it into a motion, or you may make a motion.
I make a motion that we increase the cost of living on our township staff and the part-time, which would be road crew.
Yeah.
Part-time
Well,
road crew. You
that's-
said 6 months.
I meant that they're employed at least 6 months. It doesn't apply to the part-time workers we're hiring tonight.
Right.
And it don't want to apply to the drivers, the part-time drivers.
Okay, that's that part. Then.
Well, it's up to you. I was
No, that
thinking
part-
more. I was thinking more of our full-time and part-time staff. That's
Okay, you're
year-round.
talking part-time like the zoning officer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you made the motion, and I will second the motion with this reservation. You can't continue to do this. I'm not saying you're going to, but you're putting yourself in the same position as the school teachers or other industries that keep going at 3%, whether it's our sewer authority or what, you know. So I will second it.
To make sure we understand which employees is this applying to, just to make sure that,
Well,
I know,
you know,
I know.
and it'd be retroactive July 1st.
It wouldn't be.
full-time.
Full-time, part-time employees of the township that are working
Okay.
year-round.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Okay, we had the motion and it was second. So those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn. Are you going to adjourn or me?
Motion to adjourn.
And the time is 8:08, 8:07.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.